The voice you're hearing in the background is that of Peggy Skarry, who is doing her own personal vocal workout. She seems to be finishing up, so she will be joining us in just a few moments. Welcome to Gotta Sing. I'm Frank Farrell, and I take great pleasure in introducing you to a trilogy of workout tapes, of which this is the first. I'm an actor and singer, and there have been many times when I had to go to an audition or sing in a show when I really could have used a routine like this for practice and warm-up. Peggy has been my voice teacher since I first arrived in Chicago, and being a bit chauvinistic, I told her that she was the one to do a project such as this. I liked her style of teaching, especially her interest and openness towards new and fresh ideas. I also had the handicap of not having a piano with which to practice intervals and learn difficult music. When I broached the subject to Peggy, she agreed with me that there are undoubtedly lots of people like me. In fact, she told me that many of her other students had the same problem. So the idea for a practice tape was born. Well, Peggy does nothing halfway. She not only developed one tape, but three, and all of you will get hours of practicing pleasure as a result. Let me tell you what to expect from this tape. Get Your Ahs In Gear will introduce you to the basic principles of singing. There will be exercises in breathing, a vocal vocabulary, hums, and various vowel exercises. The tape is divided so that side one will be devoted to physical warm-ups and breathing exercises, as well as the vocal vocabulary, and side two will be a complete vocal workout. You will find that 30 minutes of vocal exercises are enough for most singers and more than enough for beginners. Tape 2, Ahs You Like It, continues the breathing and vocal exercises but at an accelerated rate and with more difficult runs and arpeggios. There will also be a nice surprise on that tape that I will let you discover for yourselves. Tape 3, the Ahs Have It, is full of advanced and virtuoso exercises that will give you palpitations if you are the timid type. Each tape can be used alone or in combination with each other. Of course, it's always prudent to be realistic about your own level of vocal strength and development so that you don't push ahead too fast. A good, solid foundation gives you a much healthier respect for the vocal fireworks that should become the capstone of your vocal training. I must tell you about Peggy Skarry, since she will be your guide and coach through the Gotta Sing tapes as well as their creator. She's a brilliant singer and pianist in her own right, and has a list of credits that include child prodigy, symphony soloist, recitalist, operatic heroine, TV performer, one-woman show as both pianist and singer, winner of contests in both capacities, an innovative and imaginative educator who once founded a music prep school for children and originated a course of performance and image-building techniques known as telenetics. She is an excellent teacher who is also a friend and confidant to her students. I think Peggy is ready now, so may I present to you your own personal Wizard of Oz, Peggy Skarry.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Frank. And hello to all you singers. I know you're ready and eager to get started with your workout. It's exciting to begin something new and to learn more about yourself. We'll start in just a moment, so try to contain yourselves while I give my indoctrination speech. Some people think that singing should be effortless. Let's talk about that little misconception. Singing is effortless in the same way that a great athlete makes his or her skill seem like child's play, or a great pianist or violinist makes playing a demonically difficult composition look and sound easy. The technique that produced this seeming effortlessness has been honed to a fine edge through countless hours of painstaking practice, doing a pattern or an action over and over until the muscles and nervous system can execute the move or pattern with great coordination, speed, and accuracy every time. Limp effortlessness it is not. I want you to remember this as we proceed. In a sense, singing is a sport. You've never thought of it as a sport before? Well, listen to this. They call opera the Olympics of singing because it requires every bit as much training, dedication, conditioning, strength, and stamina as a great Olympic athlete. You may not aspire to the Olympics of singing, but if you give it some time and attention, here is what singing can do for you. It's fun. It's an energizer. It's good for your physical and mental health. It increases your vital lung capacity. It causes delicious vibrations and sensations in your nervous system, and it expresses thoughts and emotions that are universal. Everyone can sing in some way unless they're tone deaf, which is extremely rare. So let's get to it, shall we? I would suggest wearing loose, comfortable clothing because we're going to get very active. Since singing is an extremely physical activity and uses your body as the instrument, it's sensible to tune up before starting the actual vocal workout. So let's start with some preliminary warm-ups that will prepare you for the vocalizing we'll do on side 2. Many of you work out at a gym or with recordings or videos at home, so you're probably familiar with many of the principles of exercise. In fact, you may know lots more about it than I do. The current buzzwords these days seem to be aerobics, anaerobics, jogging, running, race walking, squash, tennis, stretching, martial arts, etc., etc. Well, I only want you to do some modified forms of calisthenics and jogging or running exercises to rev up your energy level. Singing requires mostly upper body activity. The lung capacity and use of the breath is especially important. We'll get to some specific breathing exercises in a moment. Now I would suggest starting out with some stretches. Pay particular attention to the rib cage. Stretch it high and then gently but firmly to each side. Do only modified side bends if you are not flexible or if you have a back problem. Since the ribs are supposed to be flexible, see if you can feel them separate slightly as you bend. Also, be sure to breathe deeply as you do this. Now, many of you tend to be tense in the shoulders and neck, so do some shoulder lifts and shoulder isolations. For those of you who are not familiar with those terms, just shrug. First one shoulder, and then the other, and then together. Do this several times with each shoulder alone, and then together. Be sure to relax as you drop back into a normal position. Shoulder isolations is a dance term, so if you're a dancer, just do some. If you're not, it just means rotating each shoulder around, first to the front and then to the back. Do this several times, one shoulder at a time and then together. If you still don't understand, imagine you're a dancer being sexy and flirt with someone with your shoulders. If music is handy, turn on some good rhythmic recording and get down. I personally think that dancing to music in private is the best kind of exercise there is. Now, neck rolls from side to side and around will relax the throat area. Do this slowly and gently as many times as you need to loosen up. First to the right, then reverse. If you become dizzy, or if you have any physical reason why these place a strain on your neck, don't do them. And now for the jaw and tongue. Those two can cause more trouble in singing than any 10 other things. Now, I'd better not get into the details of the problems. It would take much more time than either you or I have on this tape. So basically, just relax your jaw as much as possible. Drop it down gently and rotate it around a few times to the right and to the left, and then stretch. Don't do anything to the point of strain or constriction, and work slowly. If you have a real problem with that one, try the one for the tongue. This is an exercise from yoga called the lion. Some of you have heard about it or done it. For those of you who haven't, here's the way to do it. Just open your mouth as wide as you can and extend your tongue out as far as it will go towards your chin. Hold a couple of seconds, relax, and let your tongue slowly back into your mouth. Scrunch up your face, squeeze your eyes shut, hold a couple of seconds, relax, and then do it again. If you tend to be embarrassed or feel silly by doing things like this, I have one thing to say. Who's going to know? Do the lion about 3 times. It will tend to loosen up the large tongue muscles that are anchored in the back of your throat. They are often terribly stubborn and constrictive. This exercise can also relax your face, jaw, and even your mind. If you're a person who likes to keep moving or enjoys running or jogging, do some jogging in place for about 3 minutes. Your feet don't have to leave the floor. We're getting closer to the singing portion of the workout, and there's no sense in becoming short of breath before we start. Of course, everyone is on their own level of physical fitness, so use your own judgment. You can use the suggestions I've just given you as a guide, or you can devise your own physical warm-up program to energize and relax you. You want to be in a vital and eager frame of mind for what's coming next. Don't neglect this portion of the workout unless there just isn't time for every segment. Even if there isn't time to do all the exercises, do portions of all of them in order to create a consistent practice routine. Now, banish all excess tension to Never Never Land, turn off the tape, and rev up. Remember I said that the vital capacity of your lungs and how you use it is very important in singing? This segment of the workout will be to breathe, but a little differently than you normally do. There are 2 buzzwords that I want you to keep in the back of your mind at all times in this workout program, and they are balance and buoyancy. I will be referring to these 2 often as we go along. I'll bet that most of you never completely fill or empty your lungs. Well, perhaps you people who run or do aerobics get close, but I have students who run 5 miles a day who do not use their breath dynamically when they sing. In singing, of course, filling and emptying your lungs correctly is of prime importance. Even excess mental tension can interfere with inhaling and exhaling fully. Let's begin by getting reacquainted with your breath. Stand erect without tension or strain. Keep your head straight up from your spine and not thrust forward. If you have a normal spine, it should be fairly easy to stand in a good posture without discomfort. Even if you have a problem, do the best you can. Now, put your hands on your waist with the thumbs in back. Think of the challenging stance of Yul Brynner in The King and I. Now, with your hands in that position, slide them up and onto your lower ribs. Now, purse your lips and sip in air. Here's how it sounds. What you should feel is an expansion of your rib cage as the air goes into your lungs. The sipping action causes some resistance, so you don't have to try to fill your lungs by constricting your stomach or raising your shoulders. Keep everything relaxed and just sip in the breath. Breathing should be a natural, flexible, vital action, not a tense, efforted one. People who have asthma or other breathing difficulty, do the best you can. This may even help your situation. When the rib cage has expanded as far as it can, or when the lungs are full, hold a couple of seconds, and then reverse the sip on the exhalation. It will sound like this. Again, the pursed lips will cause enough resistance to prevent the lungs from just collapsing. Let's do it again. Breathe in and breathe out. Once more, breathe in, breathe out. Did you feel the rib cage expand? I hope so. Relax unnecessary tension and just sip in and sip out. Do this each time you practice to remind yourself of this bellows-like action of the lungs. And remember, do not raise your shoulders or constrict your abdominal muscles. Now we're going to do an exercise that teaches you the regulation of the breath to a beat or count. In music, you always have various lengths of phrases to deal with. Some are extremely short. Others go on and on. Your problem is to take enough air and then regulate it through the phrase so that you're almost empty of air at the end. A small reserve of air is desirable, but there should not be excess tension or a large amount of breath left over. If there is, it prevents the spontaneous inhalation mechanism from working properly. Sometimes people find themselves breathing again before they've fully released the previous breath. I call this breath on breath. This kind of breathing causes great tension and inflexibility in the rib cage, and most especially in the tone. The intake of breath should be a vital action, not a labored one. One of the buzzwords is appropriate here: buoyancy. Now move to a wall or a closed door. Face the door or wall, standing out far enough so that when your arms are extended in front of you, the fingertips touch the door or wall. Without moving your feet, lean at an angle on the door. Don't get so close to it that your nose touches it. Bend your elbows outward to the sides at shoulder level. Rest your hands flat on the surface with the fingers of each hand pointing inwards towards each other. Do you get the picture? It's a sort of push-up position standing up. Let your arm muscles hold your weight. This position places all the stress on your arms so that your rib cage area can stay relaxed and flexible. Purse your lips and sip in the breath as we did in the first breathing exercise. Do this sipping this time to my count of 8. Hold in the full position to the count of 8. Breathe out with the reverse sip to the count of 8, completely emptying your lungs to the bottom, and hold to the count of 8 in the empty position. The object of this exercise is to completely fill your lungs all the way to the top of your bronchial tubes on the inhalation, and to completely empty your lungs from the top down on the exhalation, which is not always easy because it generally takes longer to exhale all the air than it does to breathe it in. Try to regulate the outgoing breath so that you're completely empty to the same 8 counts that it took to breathe it in. I think some music or rhythm is in order here. Ah, that's great. Purse your lips. Ready? And 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. 2, 3, 4. All the way to the top of your bronchioles. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out 2, 3, 4. All the way to the bottom and hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now relax and breathe normally. Now breathe into 8, hold to 8, but breathe out to 16 counts and hold to 8 on the bottom. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out to 16. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did you do it? Try it several times until you feel how to regulate the air through the 16 counts so that you'll be empty by 16, but not before. Turn off the tape, rewind, and do this about 3 times. Now do the exercise, but phonate or make a tone as you exhale. Use any pitch that's comfortable. 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now phonate to 16. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. If you enjoy these exercises, simply rewind the tape or set your own count and do them again. Now, do the same exercise to the count of 4. Let's use a slightly slower tempo. I'll give you 4 for nothing. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe 2, Are you beginning to see what regulation of the breath actually means? Be creative on this segment also. Practice inhaling and exhaling to any count or beat of your choice. Also try it at different speeds or tempos. When you get into the singing of songs, you will have times when you have to fill very quickly and release breath quickly, and those times when the tempo will be very slow and the phrase length long. For you actors, it's like learning to regulate the breath through the phrase lengths of Shakespeare. If you haven't regulated the breath properly, you run the risk of being short of breath before the end of the phrase. This next exercise is the final breathing exercise on this tape, and I saved it for last because it's the most fun. Fill an ordinary 8-ounce glass about a third full of water. It's important that you don't fill it more than that if you don't want a bath. Now, get yourself a straw. Any size will do, but one caution. The very small cocktail straw causes a great deal of backed-up pressure and might make you dizzy or lightheaded from the amount of resistance it creates. So I like a straw with a medium-sized opening and rather long, about 10 inches. Now, put the straw into the water, take a normal breath, and begin to blow vigorous bubbles, the kind you used to do in your milk and got punished for. Well, live it up. Here's what it sounds like. Blow those bubbles. The bigger the better. Be sure there is no interruption in the flow of those bubbles. Keep going until you cannot get one more. Keep going. Make them big. Enjoy. Sometimes at this point you will still have some breath left in the deep recesses of your lungs. Blow until there is not one more bubble and until you begin to feel a kind of panic if you don't get air. Then take your mouth off the straw and notice how the air just rushes in to fill your lungs with no problem. Doesn't that feel good? The more you can go all the way to the absolute bottom of your lungs as you blow, the more spontaneous the inhalation will be when you remove your mouth from the straw. This exercise is harmless to most people, but if you feel any unusual symptoms or have heart or other problems, consult your doctor before doing it. Turn off the tape here and do it about 3 times. Be uninhibited. Did you notice the slight resistance created by the straw? Also, casually notice what your diaphragm area is doing as you use your breath dynamically like this. You don't need to push on your stomach to help the air go into the straw and water. Just blow and allow yourself to become aware of what's happening in the process. You'll probably notice that your diaphragm area, which is below your ribs and sternum, moves up gently and steadily to compensate for the outgoing air. Do the same bubble blowing exercise with a tone added. Here's how it sounds. Use any pitch that's comfortable for you. Blow and intone. Keep going. You're not going to drown. No one ever drowned at a voice lesson. Keep going till you can't blow one more bubble. Go all the way to the bottom of your lungs. And when you think you're going to panic, just take your mouth off the straw as before and let the air rush into the lungs. Oh, that feels so good, doesn't it? Did you notice that the sound adds a bit more resistance to the outgoing breath? Think about how that might apply to the, get this second buzzword now, balance in singing. As you can probably tell, I'm leading up to the big principle with these exercises, and that is that breathing is dynamic and vital. It is what you might call the yang force in singing. It moves, it energizes, it carries, it supports. It is not meant to be held back and constricted, but to be used and regulated. A singing tone is activated, carried, and supported by the breath. It's absolutely crucial that you understand that so-called control or breath support does not mean tension and constriction of any large muscle groups, but to be concise and to the point, it means support by the breath. Think about it. Breath support means support by the breath. It'll fascinate you after a while. Now, lest you think that that's all there is to it, we have yet to meet the yin force in this process of singing. If you aren't familiar with the yin-yang terms, they are Oriental terms that stand for the yang, which is the active moving force, and the yin, which stands for the force that makes forms. In singing, it's the vowels. We will be getting to them on side 2 when we get the Ahs in gear. When the breath and the vowels get together in perfect balance, there is a sunburst of glorious tone. You may ponder that at your leisure. At this point, let me introduce you to the language and vocabulary used in singing. You will have to be familiar with some of the lingo in order to be one of the insiders and feel like a real singer. First, I'll list the anatomical parts involved in singing. There's the voice box or larynx, the pharynx, which is in 3 parts, the vocal cords, or to be more precise, the vocal folds, which lie inside the voice box or larynx, the lungs, the sinuses, the uvula, the epiglottis, the glottis, the hard palate and the soft palate, the lips, the tongue, the teeth, the jaw, the diaphragm, the rib cage, the small muscles around the vocal cords. If I've forgotten any vital parts, I'm truly sorry. But wait, we must also include in the vocabulary of singing the passaggio, the fulcrum, appoggiare, tone placement, nasality, bowing the breath, and more than even that, vital energy, intelligence, musical and muscular memory, singing posture, concentration, focus, mouth position, and dramatic sense. Oh yes, I forgot, the mask. Are you intimidated? Well, don't be. Do I know all the parts of a car engine intimately? Not in your life, but I can and do drive the car with great skill and confidence. The basic thing you can do is to feel for a balanced coordination that will get you where you want to go. If you're really interested in knowing more about each part, get thee to a teacher, a library, or a bookstore. Now imagine that you're approaching your very first voice lesson. You enter the studio of the teacher who is seated at the grand piano. You feel a little fearful because you don't know what to expect and you're not sure that you will even be accepted as a student. Then the teacher smiles in a friendly manner and says something that puts you at ease. I'd like you to think of the rest of this tape as a pleasant kind of learning experience that will encourage you to sing and make your own kind of music. I'm not able to actually greet each and every one of you personally, and I won't be able to help you with your individual vocal problems, but I'm on your side. I want you to sing the best that you can with your own unique voice. If you have the voice of the century, you will make your way to the best teacher you can find, because teaching is so much more than giving an exercise program. But for the time you spend with me in this workout, give it your concentration, your caring, your persistence, your patience, your eagerness and enthusiasm, and you will feel yourself progress. Above all, enjoy. Now that you're acquainted with the vocal jargon, I'm going to give you an exercise that will open your nasopharynx. Remember that term. It's one of your major resonators. It lies inside the middle of your head, up behind the uvula and soft palate, and directly behind the nostrils. It's difficult to describe what it looks like. If you're curious, there is a chart of the respiratory system at some stores that is excellent for seeing all of the vocal mechanism. Try humming into what you perceive to be that nasopharynx. It feels vibrant and easy if you find it. Humming is one of the most natural, non-harmful, gentle warm-ups you can do. Now, starting here, hum on an M, as in Margaret, through a 5-note scale, like this. Frank? continue to feel the free, vibrant buzz that occurs when you're in the nasopharynx. Let's begin here for the lower voices. I will be playing in octaves, the lower note for the men and the upper note for the women. As we go higher and move into a comfortable range, higher voices can come in if this is too low. Here's the pitch. Ready? Hum. Wait for the chord. Breathe. Hum. Continue. For that nice free buzz. Wait for the chord. Hum. Higher voices come in. Change your hum to N as in Nancy. The tongue should be on the front of the hard palate in back of the teeth. Still feel for the nasopharynx buzz. Here we go. Breathe. Hum. Continue. Now change to an NG as in the word hung. The mouth should be open and the tongue up in back. Here's your pitch. Higher voices continue, lower voices drop out. One more. Hum. Now let's go back down. Keep humming, keep feeling for that lovely buzz or resonance. There should be no sense of strain or tension in doing these hums. Don't hold back. Go with the flow. Now change to an N hum again. Back to an M hum as in Margaret. That's it. Regulate the breath as you go through the scale. voices drop out whenever you feel a little tension. Low voices continue. Now, relax for a moment. The area that you are activating with the hums is also known as the mask. If you bow your breath into the nasopharynx resonator, you ought to feel a centering, a brilliance in the center of the pitch, and a steady pressure that feels and sounds in gear. Bowing the breath simply means keep it flowing with a firm but balanced pressure. These hums are great warm-ups anytime, especially before an audition or in your car when you might not be able to vocalize fully. Now to continue, you're ready to make those famous ahs. This exercise will use single notes only. You may think that one note at a time is boring, but it's terribly good for you in the long run. If you are able to find the spot of maximum resonance each time, it will be a means to perfect focus and concentration. Simply hum into the nasopharynx resonator, breathe, and then intone a perfect Italian ah on the same pitch and in the same spot. Try one. Here's the pitch. Breathe. Ah. Let's hear it with a male voice. Hum. Breathe.
Ah.
Can you feel that delicious buzz that means you're in the mask? Good. Now, let's proceed. We'll start here. Hum, breathe, ah, breathe. Ready? Hum, breathe, ah, breathe. Breathe, ah, breathe. Hum, breathe, ah, breathe. Breathe, ah, breathe. Continue with that rhythm. Breathe. Ah. Breathe. Lower voices continue on. Two more. Ah. Breathe. Hum. Breathe. Ah. Breathe. See if you can make a pure ah, not aw, not but the pure Italian ah, as in aha or ah so. I challenge you to listen only to the pure vowel shape as you intone and not to the tone quality per se. How did you do? Did you feel the resonance from the hum? Did your ah sound open and free with a feeling of focus in the mask? Even if you don't do this perfectly at first, keep trying to hear the ring in the tone that comes from what we call good placement and balance. The ideal tone has a ringing, resonant sound that is still clear and open, even if you hold your nose closed at the nostrils. Try one. Try holding your nose. Breathe, and now, ah. Now, here's what it would sound like if you're nasal. Ah. Now, let's hear it in a male voice. First, do an open one.
Ah.
Now, show him the nasal one.
Ah.
Good. If you hear a nasal sound, your focus is too far into your nose. If you can hold your nose closed with your fingers and still hear a clear and open ah, you are singing with an open nasopharynx or mask. Now, starting on the same pitch as before, we're going to do the very American sound of ah, which is much narrower in character than ah. It's what you might call brassier, too, but we use it in all kinds of words. Cat, rat, hat, you get the picture. Do the same exercise as before. Hum, breathe, ah, breathe. Here's the pitch. Frank. Hum, ah, breathe. Hum, breathe,
Ah.
breathe. Hum, breathe, ah.
Ah.
Continue. Be sure and use your breath. Regulate it, but don't hold it. Allow a steady, smooth flow of air to keep the vocal cords vibrating freely. Take only enough air to make the ah on one pitch and use it up as you bow your breath. Ah, breathe. Hum, breathe. Ah, breathe. Hum, breathe. Ah, breathe. Hum, breathe.
Ah.
Low voices continue. Breathe. Ah, breathe. Ah, breathe. Two more. Hum, breathe. Ah, breathe. One more. Breathe. Ah, breathe. Good. Here's the principle again. The vowel and the vibrating vocal cords cause a resistance that turn the breath into a tone. Remember the balance of the yin and yang, or the straw and the bubbles. Good. You're doing great work. The next exercise is a kind of tongue isolation and uses both ah and ah. Form the mouth into an ah position before you take a breath. Allow the breath to flow into the ah as you intone it, and while you continue to bow the breath, drop the back of the tongue into an ah without moving your mouth or jaw. Try it, Frank.
Ah.
Good. If you do this correctly, you'll feel the tongue drop as if it's on a hinge. If it's done as it should be, the ah will be free and open the entire lower pharynx. It can open so deep at times that there will be a kind of gag sensation. Don't panic. It was one of the famous Italian singers of the past who said that he could sing with an egg in his gullet. Don't try that, please. But you have to admit his throat must have been very relaxed and open. Now to the exercise. You may have to look in a mirror in order to keep your jaw from moving as you drop your tongue into the ah. Here we go. That's it. Continue. Remember that the tongue must drop in back without movement in the mouth or jaw. You're doing fine. Keep going. Lower voices continue. One more. Good. Did you feel the hinge-like action of your tongue? Did your tone sound pretty clear? Did you hear two fairly pure vowels? If you did, you're already making progress. Let's stop here and review. You are to listen for a pure vowel sound or as close to pure as you can hear it. Bow or regulate your breath rather than hold it. Take enough breath for the pitch you're going for. You don't have to strain to breathe. High pitches should be prepared for by having more buoyancy feeling. I call it the level. Listen for as clear a sound as possible without excess breathiness. Your tone should have a core or a ring to it and be in the exact center of the pitch. It is not necessary to make a gorgeous tone at first. If you do, you're one of the lucky ones, but it isn't required. Don't be discouraged and don't be too hard on yourself. Your voice sounds like you, and it should. Don't compare it to your favorite star. Realize that any training program takes time. Keep at it, and you will have results. Now, let's go on to the next exercise. This is a 5-note slur. We'll use two new vowel sounds which are common in English. I as in Nick and as in echo. I will use the 1st and 5th degree of the major scale, like this. Slur simply means to connect the notes so there is no break between them. Here's how it sounds. I think of this as a kind of gently curved saucer. It definitely has a contour, don't you think? Do not let an H sound creep in between the vowels, like this. But connect them like this. Try to avoid a large movement in the jaw. Now, if I go too low or high for any of you, simply drop out when it becomes uncomfortable. Especially don't strain to go high. Some of you will hit what we call a break, where it is difficult to make the transition from the lower part of the voice to the higher. This is common and can be worked out. Unfortunately, there isn't time on this tape to fully explain this problem. There are various ways of handling it, best done one-on-one with a teacher. This break is usually more prominent in low and heavy voices. The best I can tell you here is, don't strain that area or you could give yourself vocal damage. Let's do the exercise. We'll start with the low voices. Here's your pitch. Wait for the chord. Continue. in here. Low voices drop out. If you feel any tension. Two more. Good work. The next exercise will use the first 5 notes of the major scale. I call it the 5-note run. Here is how it sounds. We'll use the I and eh sounds of the previous exercise. We will go from I to eh and back to I again. Try for a smooth transition from one vowel to another with little mouth movement. Try not to let any H sounds stray into the smooth flow of note to note. Like this. Try it, Frank, with the H's. Okay, now let's try it the right way. That's it. Keep your vowels as pure as possible, and let's begin. Let's start again on the low F for the low voices. Here we go. Vowel to vowel. Keep bowing the breath. Don't let it constrict as you move through the 5 notes. Area, just bow a little more breath through. Try to make a smooth transition. Go too high for your voice. Don't strain. Try to feel the high notes. It's what we call head tones. The vibrations seem to be congregated in the head. The mask, even out the ears. 2 more, 3 more. Don't give up. Keep going. 1 more. Good. It's also fun to do this exercise on the vowel E. I'll do it more in my range here. E or ah. Or O, whatever vowel sounds that are available or that you prefer. On tape 2, we will get into the 5 Italian vowel sounds, which are the best sounds known to man for singing. The next exercise is the only one on this tape that will add consonant sounds to the vowels. This is to prepare you for the more advanced patterns in the next 2 tapes, and for singing words. Consonants can be a problem because they are formed in the lips, tongue, and front of the hard palate. Vowels are actually formed in the vocal cord area, which is deep inside the voice box or larynx. If you are not aware Consonants can interfere with the proper balance of your tone by getting in the way of the vowels, which are what form your tone. We'll use the M that you met in the hums, but instead of breathing between the hum and the vowel, you will use the M as a get-off point for the following vowel. The object is to use the consonant to get you into the vowel. Still keep in mind that it's the vowel that is your main concern. Here is how it sounds. Ma, mi, ma, mi, ma. Now start here and go for it. Ma, mi, ma, mi, ma. Breathe. Ma, mi, ma, mi, ma. Breathe. Ma, mi, ma, mi, ma. Don't worry if you sound a bit brassy at this point. These particular vowels are very bright. Continue. Keep going. Don't lose momentum. Higher voices, you can continue. Now, when we get to here, we're going to switch to a straight ah. Continue. Two more. Good. For those of you who made it into the upper reaches, see how high you can go easily when it's set up properly? Good job. You've had a great workout. You are in the process of developing yourself, so you must be doubly aware when you practice. If you can concentrate your attention at the sweet spot or buzz in the nasopharynx and produce a pure vowel, you will be conditioning the correct muscular coordination that will produce a balanced tone. If you don't feel the perfect balance at first, well, not many people do. Rome wasn't built in a day, you know. Any training takes time. The ability to sing is worth the price it takes to learn. For a small amount of time each day, some determination, some concentrated work, and a lot of heart, you can have the rewards of great personal pleasure, growth, challenge, adventure, even an increase in self-awareness and acceptance. Goals certainly worth aiming for. So I hope I'll see you and hear you any place where the mood of the day or night is gotta sing.
I hope you've enjoyed your workout. This completes the first level in the Gotta Sing series. Beginners, and those of you who are out of vocal shape, should stay with this tape until you feel stronger and in gear. Repeat the practice routine as often as you can, preferably every day. If you are a more developed or experienced singer, you may want to move on to the next or intermediate level of tape 2, Ahs You Like It. Remember, a singing person is a happy person. This is Frank Farrell saying, practice, 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 practice.